You know, not every case has to be, my best cases, has to be something world-beating. And so, you know, another one I'd like to mention is one that I investigated myself here in the Chicago area. And while it's not sensational, it did involve police officers. We had a tape of their conversation. We had independent observers. They were in more than one place. And again, I was able to go out and do all this myself. It was actually about 10 miles from where I lived. So this was in early 1980s in a suburb of Chicago, Palatine, northwest of O'Hare Airport. And in very kind of late evening, early morning, I should say, about 4 o'clock in the morning or so, or 4:30 roughly in that time frame. So the police were on patrol overnight in the town. And one of them saw something strange and odd in the sky. And you have to realize that Palatine is on a flight path from O'Hare. And what that means is, as the police know all the planes going into O'Hare. They are not fooled by aircraft going into O'Hare. They understand exactly what planes look like. This also was not a cloudy enough day that you know, the planes would be going in and out of clouds. So when the policeman saw it the first time, he immediately knew this is something strange. You know, this is not a plane. I don't know what this is, but it's something strange. In fact, what it was kind of a fuzzy oval-shaped thing. So it also had nothing in terms of lighting or anything like that. So it was moving slowly from northwest to southeast over the town, moving so slowly that he called it in to the station, and another officer decided to go out and take a look. This guy was going to go out anyway, so he left and went to a different part of town. And so we were able to time it so that I could see that at the same instant, both officers were observing this thing. And they were very cooperative back then. And so I got the police tapes and I heard them talking about it. I was able to reconstruct things down to the second. And so I could do the calculations to see where it was in the sky. And the answer was very low. It was like only 800 feet above the ground and moving very slowly. It was also moving too slowly to be a plane on a landing path to O'Hare, maybe 60, 70 miles an hour. And it eventually just kept going south towards actually what's the Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg, which if you're in Chicago, you know that's a big mall back then, the biggest mall in the area, but it was, again, in the middle of the night. But the point is that here you've got policemen, independent observers. They see this thing. We've got a tape of their conversation. They're completely familiar with planes. They know it's not a plane. They also called the O'Hare Control Tower shortly after it occurred, and the O'Hare Control Tower confirmed they had nothing in that area that night. And you know, it's got this fuzzy, odd shape that's kind of, he said it was like a fluorescent tube, except it was oval and fuzzy on the edges. And it just flew away. So that's a great UFO sighting, not just because I investigated it and not just because it was police, but there's your classic UFO sighting. And what keeps, you know, I think people like myself and my colleagues interested is that you have credible people reporting something that if it was anything else, we would believe what they said. But because it's something unusual, something we can't explain, many people dismiss it. Many people say, well, there's nothing to the UFO phenomena. You know, I don't know what it was, but it couldn't be something strange. But these policemen would be believable if they told you about anything else that happened to them. So why won't we believe them about this?